forced, kissed, or expected and could have been handled better? My girlfriend kissed a county worker to not hurt his feeling and because she didn't know what else to do. My girlfriend is 21 and works in hospitality. A new manager at her work, 34 years old, has been messaging her and calling beautiful and that he can't wait to come to work to see her every day. She was showing me all the messages as it was happening. Knowing how nice and awkward she is in these situations, she never asked him to stop and just took it and said thanks. One night after work, he walked with her to her car and asked if she can sit on a bench with him for a quick chat. I called her twice in that time as I was worried she was nearly 2 hours late talking to him on that bench about work. But she didn't answer because, apparently, he confessed his feelings to her and that he likes her and always thinks about her, and she said she didn't know what to say to him, so she was quiet and said, "Thanks, you are a nice guy and I like the person you are at work." Then he leaned forward and kissed her. She said she was shocked, numb and didn't know how to react. Therefore, she kissed him back for about 10 seconds then left. After that, she got into car and felt sick. Why didn't she just leave? I don't know what to feel. So many mixed emotions. Please help. Please encourage her to go to our. So many women, like your GF, were raised to be polite and nice. But she's enduring harassment to make sure she doesn't hurt his feelings. Inform her that if she doesn't, he'll do this again to either her or another girl. Because let's be honest, this guy will think she likes him since she kissed him back. He'll probably try to kiss her again and from his POV it would make sense. You gotta get your girl to shut this down now. Would she have felt more comfortable being honest with him if he wasn't a manager? Or a colleague? How does she usually respond to unwanted male attention? Is she able to shut it down? Setting boundaries and identifying improper behavior in the workplace can be so difficult for young women. Her manager is abusing his position and she really needs to go to HR and explain what's been happening. The fact she shares all of this with you is a huge win. Her boss should be fired and he is the one accountable. This is not really about you, so be supportive and recommend she get help from her boss's boss. That is some egregious, blatant harassment. Holy shit. Dude should, and easily will, lose his career in management immediately. She is only 21. She needs to go to HR about this creep. She should show HR those texts from her manager. She probably went with it because that's her boss and he abused his position of power. Why didn't she just leave? Because brains don't work like that when faced with something unexpected. And if you're saying, why didn't she expect it? Brains don't work like that either. In preparation and in retrospect you can look at a situation and say, here's what I should do, should have done. But in the moment if you haven't prepared, being shocked and not knowing how to react, freezing up, just go, ing, along with it, etc. are pretty common. You ask how should you react? Based on the story as presented, your girlfriend's been sexually harassed and assaulted. Help her, support her, both in dealing with it herself and in hopefully reporting it. Note: help her, don't make this about you. It's her who's been hurt and it's your role as her partner to support her. She probably froze. She's only 21, and her manager of 34 years old came on to her and kissed her. This is probably the first time she's been in such a situation, and she most likely had no idea what to do when he kissed her, and she froze. You need to help her to get rid of this manager. Either contact HR or the boss of that manager, or do something else to get her out of this situation. Clearly she is too shy to tell him off herself. You need to help her, or he'll go after her more. Don't just break up with her like so many comments are suggesting. This is not cheating. This is harassment of someone who abuses his authority and her age. Just get her out of this situation. Masturbating in bed next to partner. So, I don't do this. But I am thinking about asking my partner if it's okay for her. We've been a couple for 16 years, now married and with child. So things have cooled down in the bedroom. That being a topic of its own, I would like to be able to masturbate when we're in bed. Given that there's clearly potential for her to take it a number of wrong ways and to be uncomfortable, I'm not sure if I should ask at all. I would obviously accept no as an answer, but I couldn't turn back time if it's a fuck up. Should I ask at all or rather not? Tarzan equals 36M, Jane equals 33F. Just ask. A lot of people are okay with it, myself included. I am a woman and my partner and I do this and often will even rub each other's leg or something while the other is doing it when we aren't in the mood for full-on sex. It's great and keeps us connected. But definitely discuss it first. Discussing it is your best bet. If you're respectful about it, and ask without putting pressure on her, like, Hey, I was wondering if you would be comfortable if I masturbated in bed with you in it, or would you prefer I didn't and went somewhere else? Give her the option to say she doesn't want it, and if she gets upset, comfort her and let her know you wouldn't do it. So long as you're thinking of your partner, you can't fuck up in a way that you can't fix. I would ask. My boyfriend and I have a big difference in sex drive, and in the beginning he would sneak around and wait until I fell asleep to do it or leave the room. I eventually caught on to it and we talked about it. It's just a normal thing for us now, and sometimes I help him out some. Hell, sometimes seeing him turned on gets my motor going. All of this to say talking about it in a respectful way is probably the way to go. I personally would be fine with it, but I would want my partner to at least invite me to join in whatever sexy time you're having. If she's too tired or not in the mood, then you can help yourself. Just make sure she doesn't feel left out, not needed anymore. And, of course, talk to her. The other comments have already given great advice for this. TBH, I wouldn't want to be next to somebody who was masturbating personally, so I'd prefer you do it in the bathroom or something, but it's worth asking her opinions on it if it's bothering you this much. I mean, definitely just ask, but that would be super weird to me. NGL. I'm totally fine with my partner masturbating in bed next to me. Just ask her and let her know you're okay with whatever her answer is. My 28M fiancé, 25F, gave her number out to a work colleague who admitted he liked her. My fiancé currently works with somebody who actively came forward to her after only working with her for a couple of months that he really liked her and found her attractive. He asked for her number off the back of mentioning it again to her, and she gave it to him. I found all this out because one night as we were sat watching TV her phone rang, 8 p.m.-ish. So kind of late, and it was this guy. She didn't actually get his number, so this was just an unknown number that she picked up, and she obviously recognized his voice as she quickly ended the call after a hello with, "I am with my boyfriend." When I asked who it was, she mumbled and stuttered her way round it and eventually came out with, "Just some guy the first work with." I was fine with this, but I asked her why she was so weird about the call and how it came to be he had her number. She claimed that her friend at work had given it out to him as he had asked her friend for it. I left it at that, but it just didn't sit right with me. So a few days later I asked which friend from work it was, but she couldn't answer and asked me to forget about it. I got a bit paranoid about it and maybe pushed on it a bit too much, but it was getting to me. She eventually told me the above and told me she has cut ties with him but said nothing has been going on, she just gave her number out, that was it. How do I move past this? It still feels like something isn't right. Giving out her hash send a signal that she may be available. So she encouraged this guy. In my opinion, she not in fully invested in you. There's plenty of good women that would not do that. You deserve better. So she gave off the idea that she was available, lied to you by omission, and then lied to you for real? Of course it doesn't feel right. Is that the kind of person you want to marry? No, that's shady as fuck, especially calling at night. Honestly, don't marry that woman because that's a huge red flag. I am with my boyfriend. Hangs up phone quickly, and starts panicking when asked who it was. Makes up a nonsensical story on the spot and refuses to discuss it any further. At best, she is still keeping her options open despite being engaged. At worst, she is cheating on you. Pick your poison. She picked up and she obviously recognized his voice as she quickly ended the call after a hello. Huge red flag. If she is actively hiding it, she is already planning to cheat, or has been already. As a woman myself, I would have quickly and clearly let him know I'm engaged and that I want to keep our working relationship completely professional. I'm a little perplexed reading your post. Is she naive and new to being hit on at work? Maybe she got flustered and couldn't think of a good response in the moment. I would wake up tomorrow not engaged anymore. Just in time to make a bomb Saturday brunch. He rang at 8. It's not the first time he rang her. I doubt you have the full truth. If I leave her, she'll be homeless. Hello all. Me, M23, and my girlfriend, F22, have lived together the last 5 years. Our relationship is loveless at this point, and I'm ready to end things. However, I'm afraid if I do she'll be homeless. She doesn't drive, her family is all trailer trash that can't keep stable housing, she has no friends and she has no savings. I'm relocating to a new job in 2 months, about 4 hours away, so I'm worried I'd have to take her with me just to keep her off the streets. I'm stuck in this weird moral dilemma. Do I try and fix our relationship and stick with her, or throw her to the wolves? How can I justify that? Edit. To clarify, she does have a job, she's just terrible with money. I usually cover part of her bills cause she spends too much. She never learned to drive, so I drive her everywhere. She's very codependent. Won't go anywhere without me. Won't let me go anywhere without her. Calls me constantly while at work to make sure I'm actually at work. Demands pictures. I had to do her applications for her cause she couldn't figure it out etc. No kids. Just fell out of love. Felt more like a caretaker than a boyfriend the last few years. You've supported her long enough. You are not the parent and she's old enough to have a job and he able to handle he own life. 5 years is a long time to be with someone, so clearly you care for her. Knowing moving out would be difficult for her. I would have this discussion now rather than in 2 months so she can begin to figure things out and arrange plans. There's no need to justify anything, just give her the respect and advance notice she'd need and do what's best for you. 2 months should be plenty of notice for an adult to figure out a living situation. ETA response to your edit. The edit makes her sound like more of an asshole and you need to get rid of her. You are not obligated to make sure you only leave someone who is a bad partner when it is easiest for them. And she's a bad partner. I'd tell her now so she would at least have the time to figure out what to do next. 2 months is plenty of time. Don't bring her out of obligation, that's not right for either of you. I would at least warn her about what you're going to do. Give her at least a month or 2 for her to sort out her situation. She needs to find a job and move in with some roommates. You have to tell her and give her time to make the changes. Be firm in your time frame. I married someone like this. I felt obligated to stay for many years. After I finally left, she miraculously learned how to do everything herself and take care of herself. Tell her now so she has 2 months to prepare. She's been living with you for 5 years. In that time span she could have saved up money. Don't force the relationship to work because you feel bad. If anything, it'll help her grow and be more responsible.